Oh, what a bloody great start. I forgot to go live again. Well, I had to go and get a beer, mate. So, priorities and all that. Right. Hey, how you doing, guys? Here with Jez and Dal and Hot Fuzz. We're going to talk about the games from the weekend. Before we do that, I'm just going to say that I did something really, really dumb yesterday, which is not unlike me, but at times I can be incredibly smart, but when I'm dumb, I am fucking dumb. Basically, what I did is I bought a battery charger and some batteries. I gets it, plugged it all in, got the batteries charging. Smell this. What the hell is that smell? It's like bleach or something like that. Smells the battery charger. Oh, it's that. Jesus, why's that smell like that? I tell you why it smells like that, guys, because they're not rechargeable batteries. That's why it smells like that.
You caught him on fire.
Yeah. I could have exploded, guys. I really could have exploded. But, I should have streamed it because it would have made a really interesting stream. Right, anyway. Got Jez, got Dal, got Hot Fuzz. Introduce yourself, guys.
Yeah, evening, chaps. Obviously, have a little chat about all the games over the weekend and everything. And haven't spoke to you, Hot Fuzz, since the game on Sunday afternoon. Bit of a bizarre ending, but yeah, I'm here. Arsenal history more. Go and have a look if you like my stuff, and sub and like the channel.
When he says his stuff, he means his videos, not his actual stuff. Get your mind out the gutter. Dal, you, mate, introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? It's good to be on, Yeti. Thank you for the invite today. Great to see you, Jez.
Welcome.
Good to see you, Fuzz. Sorry, Fuzz, what happened, but, that's life. And big up Forrest for doing one over Chelsea, and big up Carl Rossi.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Hot Fuzz, introduce yourself, mate.
Well. It's a terrible life of a Man United fan, but big ups to everybody. Thank you very much for having me on. Hot Fuzz 44 here. Man United fan, unfortunately, based off of this weekend. But it's going to be an interesting chat today. Very, very interesting chat. I'm savouring conversing about all of the other games and all the other clubs. But if I suddenly disappear when we get to United's game, just don't speculate anything like. Yeah, I'll probably be ducking for cover with all of the bullets I'm be catching from chat and from the panel. But gotta take it, man. Gotta take it.
Right, okay, so let's get on with it. Right, so Friday night, Luton play West Ham. Yeah, I don't know how many guys watched this, but I actually watched the game, and I thought they did all right, actually. I thought Luton was an odd fighting team. Their ground is just legendary. It's like back in the old days. It just looks amazing. And there's been so many comments that said that from the West Ham fans, that it's one of the best grounds they've been to, as in the nostalgia. I thought Luton did all right, but unfortunately in the Premier League Championship you can get away with some mistakes, but in the Premier League these players are so technical. If you make mistakes, you get punished, unfortunately. Jez, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, Kenilworth Road is quirky. I've been there quite a few times back when they were in Division 1. And it's a funny little place, especially when you have to go through those houses to get in the ground. It's the only ground.
Mad. Crazy.
The only one similar to that is Pompey's ground, Portsmouth. And that's a similar sort of thing. You go down a row of houses like that, and then you've got this weird entrance, and then you've got like flats above it. It's a weird. Well, I don't know if they are. I think they might be offices actually, but it's a weird setup. But Kenilworth Road is quite bizarre. Luton. Fair play to them. Spent a shed load of money for a club of their size. They get their ground up to Premier League standards. I think they're going to struggle, unfortunately. West Ham.
Same here, yeah.
I think West Ham just actually bullied them in the end. And fair play to Luton, but I think they are going to struggle. they're certainly going to struggle against the bigger teams away from home.
Yeah, for sure.
The nice thing about
Tough. It's going to be tough at the end of the day, but they're going to have to just try and keep it going.
it's an echo.
Why have I got
Don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I think the echo's gone now. I can't hear any
That's
reverberation.
because I'm not speaking.
It's gone now.
Is it gone now? There's
If
like
anyone's
loads
got playback.
of what's like the wind noise? Who's
The wind
brought
noise.
in the special effects?
I mean, the wind noise might be me if I put my mic around this way. I don't know if the wind will.
That's better. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought when you said the wind noise was me, you was farting in your bedroom.
That's me.
Christ almighty.
You know me, mate. I'll always go there. So there's still an echo.
Is it my mic, maybe?
I think it
I
might
don't
be on
know.
my. Have you got playback?
Yeah, that's
John,
it.
that's
Are you
on-
on
that's,
speakers?
Unmuted.
Yeah, my mic is connected to speakers.
Right, that's probably why then.
Well, that's weird. I
If
don't
you're-
echo on anybody else.
That's weird. Yeah, that is strange. Maybe it's you push to talk.
No, it just has a little mute button here on my StreamYard.
All right, that's weird.
Does it sound bad now?
No.
Only when you're actually talking, you can hear like the feedback,
No, I need
and
to
then
get
you
a
can
mic.
hear me talking afterwards.
I need to get a mic. It's my fault, fellas.
You're all good, mate.
You good?
Anyway, Luton, mate. Luton, what do you think? I know you might not have watched it. I don't know.
You asking me or Buzz?
You, mate. No.
Oh, me? Oh, I saw the goals. I saw the highlighted goals and some of the highlights. I think West Ham spent the money pretty good, to be honest.
Mhm.
They picked up, James Ward-Prowse, a couple other decent players. Jared Bowen looks to be firing on all cylinders. And I think Luton Town's just going to get relegated. They're just fodder. There's no way they're going to be able to hang on. I mean, you look at even
it's
Nottingham
a tough
Forest. I
one,
think you guys, pound the crap out of them too. I mean, it's just,
Well, I hope so.
yeah. I don't know. I just don't see them competing with anybody. To be honest, I think Sheffield's even better. But yeah, I watched the highlights. Of course, I didn't watch the whole match, but from what I saw, it's like West Ham are firing, man. I think they stand a real chance to push top. Maybe 6th or 7th spot.
Mm.
I don't think they're top 4, maybe probably not 5th, but 6th or 7th. If Moyes has got them organized and playing well, and they've got a pretty easy schedule. So at the beginning, but we'll see what happens when we get in the depth of games. But I wouldn't write West Ham off of coming to our place and getting one on us.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, on their day, they can be really good. To be fair.
Yeah, but yeah, they definitely dominated Luton from at least all the highlights and the stats I read.
Yeti drinking Carlsberg, not Stella. I may play the lottery. I like to switch it up. I like variety in all things that I do in my life. But we'll leave that there. Fuzz, Luton.
I didn't watch the game on Friday night, but based off of the stats that I'm looking at here, by the looks of it, it's Luton Town wanted to have a good go at this game. Try and feed off of first home game energy sort of thing, where it's like the ground is bouncing and it's sort of you tap into that energy a bit. And you sort of, I think West Ham could have been a good opponent to sort of get the better of, slap them left, right, good night sort of thing. Not like a crazy scoreline by any means, but like a 2-1 in favour of Luton Town. But they use that momentum and energy to essentially get moments in the game where they score their goals. But by the looks of it, West Ham came to do a professional job, kept it tight to various extents. I mean, they limited Luton Town they limited Luton Town to just one shot on target from 16, and the other 15 went off target. So by the looks of it, it was do a professional job, keep it tight, hold the ball as well as you can, obviously with favourable possession stats, and score with the chances you get. And by the looks of it, West Ham, I don't know how tough.
It's a learning curve, isn't it? It's a learning curve for Luton, same as it was for us.
I don't really know just how tough Luton's ground is going to be for majority of teams, because this is just the first home game.
It's a very small, compact ground.
Yeah,
very small.
It feels like you got to get your elbow stuck out a little bit just to sort of make room on a pitch like that. And I think I reckon that there could be quite a few dogged matches there where it's quite tough physically.
I actually think they'll have a lot to say in the top 4 with the injuries and stuff like that, because they played very hard. I mean, because when we played them, when we was in the Championship, all them years ago, well, I'd like to say it's all them years ago, but it's not. But, I mean, when we played them, they are a very hard team to play against. Right, anyway, we'll move on from Luton, and we'll go on to Saturday. Sheffield United Everton 2-2. I watched this game. I thought Sheffield United played really hard stuff. They played really hard game. I thought it was really good, actually. But Everton, for me, they don't look it, man. They don't look it at all. What do you think, Jess?
Yeah, I think Everton are definitely
big up, TJ.
As we look at it now, they are, I think, relegation fodder. They got away with it last season, which I think is going to be, if they do get relegated, it's going to be very interesting because they've got their new ground, which apparently they're moving to next season.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now, we know that you get a massive cash injection when you get relegated, which I find absolutely incredible. You get more for getting relegated than you do for winning the Premier League.
Wow.
Bizarre.
Yeah, you do.
And I'm like thinking, okay, that could be a massive. I'll be, if they do go down, it's sad to see them go down because they've got the longest run in the Football League other than Arsenal.
Yep.
So that'd be a great shame. And I like Everton. I have to say, I love Goodison Park. Goodison Park is very much one of those old, quirky little grounds. Better standard than Kenilworth Road, I have to say that. But Sheffield United, they're a tough team. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if they hold on and stay up. I think they've got a decent setup there. I like the football they're playing, to be fair, but I think away from home they may well struggle. Bramall Lane's a nice little ground. Well, it's not such a little ground, it's a decent ground. Been there a few times and always a great day out there. And
it's a tough ground.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's in a shithole area as well. Let's get right. It's never enjoyable going there if you're on foot.
Nope.
Back in the day. But yeah, I think they'll do all right, Sheffield United.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did all right against us, to be fair. I mean, we was kind of lucky, really, to get that win because they was playing so hard. And to be honest, the main man was Turner. So all your little quips about, hey, you've got Turner, ha, 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 ha. Well, yeah, we'll have that. We'll have that. Dal, what about you, mate, to Sheffield United? Not you to Sheffield United.
All right, okay. I know, it sounds like a little rough walking around Sheffield after the description there. I have to carry my shank with me or something, I take it. I don't know much about Sheffield. Maybe
you'll need Smith and Wesson, mate, if you're walking around there.
All I know is Def Leppard's from there. That's all I know about Sheffield. And they got some other club named Wednesday.
Let's talk about the positives.
Yeah, well, I think Everton are actually going to be the team that finished 17th. I think they're barely going to scrape because I think there's a player in Danjuma, I believe, has already got 2 goals. Yeah. There's a player there. In fact, he was someone I kind of put on the back list for Arsenal, someone that, that we would be able to get for cheap money. Obviously, it's not going to happen. But I rated him when he was, I think, a Villarreal. He was pretty decent in the Champions League and Europa League. So he hasn't, I think he's French as well. So he's a name that's been tossed around the French camp a bit.
They need to come back up, TJ. Sheffield Wednesday.
But I think for Everton, like Jess said, relegation fodder, but I think they have just enough more than Luton and Sheffield and possibly Wolves. I think
that
Wolves
Beto looks decent as well for Everton. I thought he looked
I
decent.
think he'll probably
really
get
at
some
it
goals.
on Saturday.
If he can get Danjuma and Beto firing, get some goals. Obviously he's probably not going to get 20, 25 goals. Either one of them aren't going to get that. But, if they can combine for 12, 13, 14 goals apiece, keep the defense solid, I think they have a good chance of staying up. Like Jess said, I knew that they're one of the oldest teams in the league. And, it would be kind of shitty for them just to be relegated, because I kind of have a soft spot for Everton too. I really like watching
I
really like watching the derby with them in Liverpool.
100%.
Sometimes I cheer for Everton, right, because I wanted Liverpool to lose.
I was saying, mate.
Yeah, a soft spot for Everton, but I think they'll be 17th, 16th, 17th. I don't think they're going to get relegated. I think Dyche, like I said, that their strikers and wingers will have enough firepower to keep them up.
Yeah, nice one. Oh, Fuzz.
Yeah, but again, it's another one of the games that I didn't see. I didn't watch it, but I kind of wish that it's one of those games that I had seen it, because by the look of it, from a neutral's perspective, it looked like one of those entertaining. It's like people usually associate draws as bore draws or something, of boring games, but this is just like you kind of wish that there was like a winner for one of the two teams, just so it's just like that story sort of resolves itself. It finishes a story for 90 minutes. That was a complete joyride. But I think the interesting thing is that I don't think Everton will get relegated. I believed that Sheffield United, based off of the summer transfer window that they had, would be probably rock solid bottom. Just simply because some key players for Sheffield United they were letting go to promotion rivals. So they sold Sander Berg to Burnley, for example. One of their key midfielders in the Sheffield United team for a while. And it's just like, that's a bit of a head scratch. You're thinking, why would you do that? But in all fairness, for the games that they have played in, they looked all right. I mean, they've made all the scorelines actually look a lot closer. They make the games look and feel much more competitive. They
fight.
Yeah. And I think sometimes
Everton will be better when they actually go up against the bigger teams, personally, because that's what Dyche used to always do with Burnley. There's always the bigger teams he seems to get something out of. So Arsenal, when you meet them,
Arsenal, watch out.
You're getting stuffed, mate.
It's getting out the book again. It's getting out the book to be ready to throw it straight at Arteta's forehead. But man, it would be a crying shame to see Everton get relegated.
100%.
But at the same time,
100%.
It kind of would be funny just to see them.
I'd rather see Liverpool get relegated, to be honest. Right, on to Chelsea Forest. Right, well, guys, I'm just going to say, right, I am getting sick and tired of hearing Chelsea fans going, oh, we're not that good, mate. We set up an away performance that beat your horse. And I don't care whether you say it's because you're not that good. It's not our fault you've got Sterling who can't see anybody else in your team. I mean, they're in a completely different colour, but that prick still can't see them. I mean, if you're going to run at the goal and then there's 3 Forest players in front of you and a player to the side of you, and you're going to take a shot against 3 players instead of pass it, and you are an unbelievable twat. And we played brilliant to a man. We was excellent. We went out, we did a job. The goal was fantastic. One you nutmegs Thiago Silva, straight to Elanga. Get in that bag, mate. Get in that bag. And I want to see some respect being put on our name, because I'm getting a little bit tired of this. Like, oh, well, that we weren't very good and that's why you win. Go fuck yourself with that bullshit. Right, on to you, Jess.
Yeah, I didn't actually see the game, but chatting to a couple of guys that were actually at the game yesterday, and they were saying how poor Chelsea are. And this is what makes me question. They were pretty poor last season, Chelsea. So why the hell do we buy that?
We were just better, Jess.
Well, yeah, okay, I'll go with you on that one. But the fact is, they were poor. And yet we buy one of their players. I mean, I just don't. It just doesn't make sense at all to me. I think Chelsea are going to struggle this year again. Pochettino, I think, will help, but I just don't think that. I mean, like you just said about Raheem Sterling, I'm sorry, I don't rate him at all. I don't.
No, I don't. I don't.
And I think Chelsea are really not the team they were. They're definitely not the team they were 5-6 years ago. No question of a doubt. And I think I chatted to another fella, these guys yesterday, and they're saying we are dreading going to the Emirates. If they were saying if your manager puts the team out like it was last season, not this silly nonsense which he has been doing, and they said we're going to get battered. And I went, probably. I mean, he can't put Partey right back because he's out. He's gone for however long. So I said the only question I'm going to say about it is that we've got Kieran Tierney, best left back in the league, in my opinion, gone. And yet Tommy Asu, fair play to him. Not going to knock him. He gave a good performance. But I honestly think Chelsea are going to seriously struggle. Nottingham Forest.
Jez has gone on to Arsenal.
Pardon?
Jez has gone on to Arsenal. What's going on here?
Sorry, I'm just trying to make a comparison. I think credit to Nottingham Forest set up there. I think you're going to do all right this season. I wouldn't count you out of a cup challenge, and I think basically you'll end up
with Carabao.
The carrier bag. The carrier bag.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will say about that is sometimes the team ain't very good. I mean, I know Chelsea have been doing very good in the last few games, but sometimes the team ain't that good because the opposition's better and they're more drilled. I mean, not grilled. They're more drilled, and they know what they've got to do, and they know they've got to score a goal and then just sit back and keep it defended, and that's exactly what we did. Right, Dal, on to you, mate. Chelsea Forest.
That's the first thing I woke up to in the morning was that was the very end of the game. When I woke up and turned the TV on to watch in the morning with my cereal, I saw you guys beating Chelsea 1-0. I was so happy, man. I was so happy just to see you guys beat them. You guys played them off the pitch for the most game that I saw. They're completely.
See, I like Dow. I like Dow. Jez, you can go away, mate.
I just absolutely hate Chelsea. I hate everything about them. I hate the snobbish way they used to play football. I used to hate Mourinho when he was with them, but I respect Mourinho.
Where's fans going?
Dude, he was just like a thorn in our side. I hated Drogba, but he was probably one of the best strikers I've ever seen in the Premier League. I hated their whole team because they were very good during that era, and so it hardens it. Well, no, it makes my heart explode with glee and happiness to see them beat by Forest and beat by anybody. I absolutely hate that club. I hate everything they stand for. I think they're more of a bigger rival to us than Spurs, to be honest. I mean, we've outplayed Spurs now for the last 20 years. Look at the trophy haul, right, Jez? I mean, I know that sounds maybe a little sacrilege saying that, but Chelsea on a competitive level is more
fans as well.
What I think.
They are entitled fans. They are entitled fans. I mean, at the end of the day, they don't do anything until they start winning. You know what I mean? And they've had some cracking players over the years as well.
Yeah.
Some cracking teams.
Great players. They have 2 or 3 now that are really good. But I still think it's kind of like maybe they're in, a little bit behind us and trying to do a youth project as well. But again, I'm not sure about their recruiting. It seems to me just like a lot of names I've never really heard before.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Football. And it kind of seems like they're just kind of a bunch of names thrown together with no real rhyme or reason why. I don't know if you guys kind of think the same way. It's just a bunch of names.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't see any real threat from any of them. I mean, Enzo is probably their best player, but I don't know, man. I'm just glad you guys beat the shit out of him.
Well, one thing I will say, if he gets that midfield right, it'd be one of the best midfields in the Prem.
Right.
Endo, Lavia, and Casiado. It'd be one of the best midfielders in the Prem if he gets that right.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to be this season, though, man. I mean, if it is, it's going to be later this season because the games come thick and fast. You guys know if he doesn't have them ready by December, they're done. I mean, they're done if they're not ready by December.
There's a very young midfield too.
Very young. Very young. I mean, there's players there for sure. Like I said, they've got maybe 4, like you said now, 5 top class players. But it's how they use them, right? They could use them for a season and sell them for all we know. You know, they could ditch Caicedo. You know, Pochettino, I think, can be ruthless if he needs to be. He was kind of ruthless at PSG, I thought, in certain aspects. But I just, you know, I still don't see any cohesion with that team, and I love it.
I don't think
players all they want if they're going to give us penalties and shit. So
I don't think it's a team for Pochettino. I think Pochettino takes young players and makes something out of it, and he's got so many players that are sort of over the hill.
A good call. Like he hasn't really done much with young players, right? You saw him at Tottenham, obviously, but they weren't young players. You know, he still had Harry Kane, he had Lucas Moura, and you know he had experienced players on that side.
I think he needs a mix. He
needs leadership. And like Jess said, and you said too, Raheem Sterling, I mean, if that's one of their senior members of the players and they have young players looking to him for leadership, that's a big fucking problem. You know, because Raheem Sterling is not a leader. I'm sorry. He's not. I mean, he's a decent winger and he's won some trophies, obviously, with City. But I just think that I think you can see that they're relying on him to make things happen. And when it doesn't happen, they literally have no plan B. I know we don't have a plan B. They have no plan B at all if things aren't going through Sterling. And so I'm not worried about them coming to the Emirates, to be honest. And I'm not worried about going to Stamford Bridge because they are a shit show right now. And I love every second of it because I absolutely hate that club. I hate everything about them.
Right, so we've got like 2 in the chat and we've only got 2 likes. What the fucking are you playing on chat? Come on, get them likes up and subscribe if you're new. Subscribe only if you're new, though, because, I mean, you can't subscribe if you're not new anyway. I don't understand why anybody ever says that, subscribe if you're new, because you can't subscribe if you're not anyway. But over to Ocfuzz. He's not over there. He's over there. He's down there. He's somewhere.
He's somewhere on the screen. Figure it out for yourselves. But, yeah, man, if there's one line that I could use to summarize this game, it was Mourinho's favourite performance against Mourinho's favourite team. Just soak up pressure, hit them on the break. And, mate, who needs Raheem Sterling when you have Anthony Elanga?
Exactly, mate. 15 million. Anthony, 15 million.
United reject, right?
Yeah, United reject. Man never got a
you're taking him on left wing yesterday, huh?
See, now he's going to a big team. He's performing now, you see. Now he's actually gone up. He's gone up big levels, team. He's performing.
Yeah, he's got up levels. But, yeah, just to speak on Chelsea, I was watching the Football Terrace show with Lee Gunner earlier, and they were talking about this. If there was one way to describe it, if people are a bit like gamers in chat, it's like when you go into a FIFA career mode, you stick the takeover money to 1 billion, and you stick every player that you can find in your scouting network on your transfer
list. At everybody, I've got some smoke in the eye.
Well, maybe there's someone in chat that's caught your eye, but yeah, it's like you just sign players. What happened last season? Everyone that didn't work out the door. It looks like it's scattergun. There's no real structure to it. There's no idea behind the signings. There's no plan. It's like Todd Bowley hasn't actually spoken, or anybody from the actual signing team or the transfers team has spoken to Pochettino about this. He's just like, well, I would like players like this or like that. And then they've just gone, okay, see you in about 2-3 months' time. And they come back with all of these new players coming through the door. Pochettino's pretty sat like, what the hell are these people?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Yeah,
it seems like it's so aimless. Like
it's a mishmash, isn't it? It's a major mishmash.
It's just a concoction. It's like a cocktail. You're making a cocktail, but it's made by someone who's never tasted a cocktail in their life. So they've gone into the kitchen,
right? An unexperienced
it's like what we did last season, isn't it? It's like what we did last season, where we just kept signing.
But you guys had an objective. You guys, like, I was saying that Chelsea had an objective. You guys had an objective. That was to stay up and fight. Chelsea are just a bunch of pretty boy, expensive players running around. Sorry, Fuzz. Go ahead. But I see where he's going with this.
Yeah.
Big up Lenny Moon. How you doing, buddy?
It's like anything that looks like it's a fancy color, like a blue color, maybe a red color. What about this green color thing? What you end up putting in is half of the stuff is like toilet cleaning things. Like, and then it's just like when you drink it, it's just, oh my God, that tastes absolutely horrible. Some ingredients might be right. It's like, okay, some of those ingredients are good, but then everything else is just like, no. You don't put any of those anywhere near this. Don't put those anywhere near this. And I mean, as much as you talk about some of the signings they have made that a lot of people are sort of watering out their mouth with, Lavia, Caicedo, those two in particular, and there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, that's going to be one of the best midfielders in the best midfields in the league." Oh, they're going to rip teams apart and everything. It's just like, but look at the way Caicedo started his Chelsea career. It's like he's lost an edge to him. He's lost a bit of passion in him. He's lost a bit of that fight, that energy, that little bit of grit that he had at Brighton that everyone.
It's like adding acid to a human body. It's not a good idea.
Fuzz, I gotta admit, man. Fuzz, I gotta say, you hit it on the nose. I think that whole team is unhappy. I think Pochettino looks unhappy. They all just look down. They don't look like they're up for it at all. You know?
Yeah, it's like if you go and see like some building plans for like this fantastic new block of flats, and everyone in the community is like, oh my God, this is going to look so cool. It's going to be so brilliant to see them. Then they get built. It looks like it's something where, Christ, bombs and missiles have been dropped in there. It looks like an absolute wasteland.
Do you think it might be something to do with the new owner? Because that Todd O'Hurley,
he's a twat, isn't he?
He turns up at the training grounds a hell of a lot down in Cobham. Do you think that
he's manager a bit?
Yeah, I mean, do you think his influence is causing a little bit of unrest with Pochettino and the players? He's the sort of guy I think that would stick his fingers in the pie and mess about, and I think that can unsettle the team personally.
Well, I think he did that with the LA Dodgers when he owned the LA Dodgers baseball team as well, Jez.
Right.
So I think the Dodgers went on a nice run for about 2 or 3 years. I think they won a World Series while he was the owner. And then he got in there and started being the Tinker Man. You know, but I think what you're saying is I have seen pictures of him too at their training ground. Just, social media stuff, him holding the phone up with sunglasses on or something. And maybe he's trying to just learn, because I think he's very, very naive to the history of the sport. I think many American owners come in thinking that, I'll just spend some money. This is my plaything. But when they realize that
I think that's what they do, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. It's grassroots football, right? Because at the core, the fans are grassroots fans, right? And you're not going to pull the wool over those people's eyes. Like Jez, you're a grassroots fan. You've been supporting Arsenal in '67. No new American owner is going to come in and tell you what's what and what's best for your football club.
And right? nobody's happy when someone sticks their finger in your pie.
Exactly. And Chelsea's a very old established club with as much tradition, almost as much tradition as Arsenal, but they've been around, 1908 or something like that, right? Or maybe late 1800s. But the thing is that you can't come in as a flashy American. you can't do that. No matter what.
Okay, guys. I know you're loving the Chelsea 8 and all this, that, and the other, but we've got to move it on because I've only got an hour stream, so we'll all of a sudden just get booted off, and everybody will wonder what happened to us. But actually, probably nobody will give a shit. To be fair, that's probably the reality of it. Right? Okay. So Man United 5-1 against Fulham. I watched the highlights today. I didn't see the game. Man City, I mean.
I wish.
Sorry, I didn't mean the shit team in Manchester. I meant the good one. Beat Fulham 5-1. I was watching. I didn't watch the game, but I watched the highlights today. Fulham managed to get a goal, and they seemed really happy. They weren't very happy afterwards because Haaland all of a sudden just turned on a masterclass. These guys are just owning it all. I don't care what anyone says. Arsenal, you ain't nowhere near. Sorry. Jez, over to you, mate.
Totally agree. Man City always starts slow, right? And they're only at the moment in second, third gear. They've got a lot more to turn it on, and that is due to the magnificent management of Pep Guardiola and the beast of the beast that is Erling Haaland. I mean, for his age, I mean, dear God, how good is he? Seriously. You know, I mean,
just started as well, and before they're going to play us as well.
He is going to be. I'm not going to say as good as Messi or anything, but he's going to be one of the greatest players we've ever seen in the Premier League.
Oh, 100%.
It's just unbelievable. And yeah, Man City, they've got it in the bag. I can't see Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Tottenham competing with them. And I'll be very interested to see what happens when we play them in a few weeks' time at the Emirates, because if Arteta, right, goes with his stupid nonsensical setups with there's 72 different tactical things in the game. Dear God. You know, I'm sorry.
That just shows what a prick he is, to be honest.
He is a prick. I'd be calling him a prick.
73 formations in a game. What? Is there even 73 Is there even 73 football formations that exist?
No.
There's only the hell is he talking about?
Do with 10 people.
I mean, he didn't do the Mighty Ducks one, did he?
So if he had
that's one of them,
then he had a 1 in 9.
I think personally that football's a simple game. The great Herbert Chapman invented the modern game with his WM formation, and teams still play it all around the world to this day. It's his philosophy that fullbacks, as they were once called, went over the line, because before he did that at Huddersfield, before he joined Arsenal, who won the league 3 times on the bounce, first time ever, he made his fullbacks go into the other opponent's half. No other team did that.
No.
And it caused carnage. And so we had the overlapping fullback in the day. And anyway, we get back to Man City, Fulham. Fulham, well, they caused Arsenal trouble. Let's get it right. Could have beaten Arsenal. Man City just took them apart so easily.
Just unbelievably. I mean, they're just so good. I mean, one of the better goals I've seen this season, and I'm going to mention Arsenal, not this season, but I mean this weekend, was the Odegaard goal to get one back on Man United. That was superb. If you can keep doing that, then you can definitely be right up there. But anyway, let's move on to Dan. We're going to have to make it shorter on the games because otherwise my stream's just going to run out.
What's there to say? I think I predicted City beating them 4-1. I mean, we should have done the same thing, but Arteta decided against that and to do other tactical shit that didn't work, and we lost points. But, City shows you how it's done. Simple and plain.
100%. Oh, Fuzz, mate. I mean, I know you love your Manchester brothers. You know, they're looking after you and holding you like babies in arms. You know, what do you think?
Noisy neighbours. Well, unfortunately, we talk about noisy neighbours trying to cause a racket. Well, the rest of the street's now turned up to their party, so we're left having to cup our ears now. But yeah, man, I'll tell you what, it says everything you need to know. If based on what Jess said there, that City usually start the season slow. They're already the only team to have a perfect record. Already.
Yeah.
Everybody else has at
that's
least
what's scary, isn't it?
dropped 2 points. And the fact is that is anybody going to keep up with them now?
Until the meters, mate, then they're going to get a masterclass. they're going to get a way masterclass, a 1-0 amazing game you watch. Right, anyway. Well, normally when I say that, it actually works. It did against Arsenal. Right, okay, so on to talking noisy neighbours. We've got the Spuds. 5-2 against Burnley. Burnley score first. I thought, Spurs are going the old same way again. You know, they think they're back and now they're done. And next thing I looked, it was like 2-1, I think it was, at half time. Ended up winning 5-2, and Son is just banging them in again. So, Jez, off you go.
Yeah, not something I really want to talk about too much, but, you know, it is what it is. Spurs, they're up and down. I don't think they're really going to be a challenge, to be honest. I don't think they've got the squad. Since they've lost Kane, I think Son's done very well, but I don't think he'll maintain that personally. And, yeah, Burnley, well, sorry, you're pretty shambolic. And, you know, even though they've got I forgot his name, their manager,
Company,
Vincent Company. I don't think he's got the experience to keep them where they are, and I think basically it'll be another shit show for Spurs.
Yeah. I'm gonna stall this one. That's how you do it. There you go. I'm gonna stall that one and stall that one. Right, over to you, Dal. Which game are we on? Oh, Spurs and Burnley. They said Spurs.
Yeah, pretty much ditto what Jez says. I mean, it's Burnley. I was expecting that. I think they are much improved though with Buscema and Madison, and they're going to be, they're going to be tough to deal with at home.
Decent.
Yeah, they look better than last year for sure, and he has them playing some decent football, and they're going to be a challenge if
really played anybody yet, though, have they?
Right. They've got an easy. I think they have one of the easiest schedules so far in the top 6, to be honest. But good, that'll come back to bite them in the ass later on, right? So
they've only played United. I mean, and that ain't anybody, is it? Really?
No, not at the time. But if they play United again, I think United will give them a better game. But their main thing is they need just people healthy. They need, if James Madison or Buscema get injured, I think the whole thing kind of falls apart, to be honest.
Yeah.
But with Buscema, they got a very, very good
CDM. You won't.
But yeah, I'm like Jez. I'm not too worried about them. I still think they'll probably make 6th or 7th spot. But I think teams like yours, Yeti, like Forest, will challenge them. Will really, really be a challenge.
We're winning the league, mate. What are you on about?
But I think you guys can beat them. I think you guys can beat anybody. But fact of the matter is, they're Spurs.
We're doing the treble.
They're not.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We're at the Carabao Cup.
Trebles. It's a little early for that. But that was Spurs. Fuck them.
Right, and Oxford's.
I know there's the Arsenal faithful definitely feel like, screw Spurs. Nobody cares about Spurs. They liquidate the club. Shout out Firmino. But it feels like that there is a potential to a Spurs team to actually have a couple more of these games where they do go, whether it's at home or away, battering some of the smaller teams, but providing a sort of problem for bigger teams that they hadn't done so before. I know usually you got a couple star players that carry a Spurs performance in big games or small games, but this time it feels like that is a team performance that will carry Spurs in these games, and I think that's what you look for more so in a team that I think a lot of people are sort of writing off a bit. I know I don't hype them up to say, oh my God, these guys are going to push City. They're going to be top 4 guaranteed. But I think the direction that they pointed
the City
themselves
against them will be massive because they normally win that.
Yeah, I think the direction they've pointed in is if they play the cards right, I think they're going to reap a lot of rewards. Obviously, they've not. They've done. Postecoglou's done a prime Arteta and bins the Carabao Cup literally first time of asking. But I mean, Burnley away. I know a lot of times people might say, "Well, look, Vincent Kompany, wide open spaces, practically non-existent defences." Turf Moor's never really an easy, jolly day out kind of ground to go to. Sometimes you're in for a fight, and I mean, even Burnley, that looked like they were getting slapped up. Like they still scored 2 goals. So
yeah,
I know they can provide a challenge.
I thought they was going to be one of the stronger ones, to be fair, but
I was thinking it would be
to look a little bit like it's getting a bit dicey for them.
I think definitely with what Dow said about key injuries, I think Bissouma is absolutely just on another planet.
He's on another planet, and he's just playing him.
Maddison as well. I mean, you saw it against Fulham in the Carabao Cup. They were missing some key elements in their team. Bissouma and Maddison, what they bring to Postecoglou's system, he is honestly going to bed every night praying that these two don't get injured. Absolutely praying.
100%. Right, I'm gonna have to go on to Brentford. Who did they play? I just looked at it and I forgot.
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. 2-2. I watched the highlights of that game. Brentford was unlucky. They hit the post 3 times. Took 3 brilliant moves as well, but they hit the post. And Bournemouth are just a team that just won't go away. They just fight and they just keep going for it. And everybody says, "Oh no, this is an easy 3 points and all this, that, and the other." It's obviously not, but you still can't knock Brentford for what they're doing without their main man, Ivan Toney. I mean, that Thomas Frank is definitely one of the ones up and coming. Jazz, over to you, man.
Yeah, I didn't see it, man, but Bournemouth are one of those annoying little wasp teams, aren't they? They keep coming back.
Like the spiders in your room. They keep appearing.
He's got it.
Killed it last night. I found it. Well, it found me.
I realised it had eggs. It's got 8 under the bed, but he's got that one.
I smacked it.
That's got arachnophobia.
All of a sudden, you'll see him running up his green screen.
I mean, fair play to Brentford. Fair play to them. They're a resilient team. I think Bournemouth are annoying. I've never rated them, but they've caught Arsenal out on a few occasions. So fair play to them, and fair play to Brentford.
Yeah, go.
Just saw the highlights, and you're right. They did hit the woodwork 3 times. So that, I mean, if you count those goals, that's a dominating display by Brentford, right? I mean, shit. Brentford. I'm ready. I think I want to face them. I want to see Arsenal and them go together because I think that Brentford will put up a good fight. And like you guys said, I don't rate Bournemouth. I mean, there's something to be said that they've been in the Prem now for a while, right? I mean, I guess there's something to be said for that. But yeah, they're kind of just there. But I don't know if they're relegation fodder just yet. I have to see some more games.
Yeah, same here. Oh, fuzz.
Yeah. I think with Bournemouth's case, I think stubbornness by smaller teams in the Premier League, just stubbornness can take you a long way, a lot longer than I think a lot of people would assume it would. And in Bournemouth's case, I think it's like with Gary O'Neill last season, the great escape from relegation. But it's like, well, Christ, he just blew that challenge out of the water and got them into actually a pretty decent position. This season, I think if they do a bit of the same, have a bit of grit, have a bit of fight, just be stubborn in these games and just don't get slapped off the park and just find a way to be that frustrating to play against. I mean, bigger teams, I think, shouldn't have that much of a problem against Bournemouth. They shouldn't. But every other team, I think, is going to be like, oh, for God's sakes, really, we've got to deal with these lot, home and away. I don't know. Bournemouth will walk up into Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and end up getting another 3-2 sort of victory there. I mean, I think with Brentford, definitely a team to again look out for. I think they can do some special things, but it really depends across a 38-game season if they've got the tools to go a long way. We know Mbomo's fantastic player, a bit like a Mikel Antonio, isn't it? Their own little Mikel Antonio, quite a bit physical, bit of pace on him,
an eye for goal. Good players, good manager as well. He's he's doing what he needs to do. Right, I'm gonna have to go on to Newcastle, Brighton, because I need a piss, and I'm gonna have to leave it to you guys in a minute. Basically, Newcastle Brighton. I was doing a watch along for it, and then I noticed that Jez was live, so I cut it short because it's a respect thing in this YouTube community. We do that, and at the end of the day, I thought Newcastle had a real bad day at the office. I mean, they hit the post a fair few times as well. They had some really good chances. What's his name? Jolyon not Lescott. What's he? Linton. Joe Linton, I mean.
Yeah.
He had a brilliant chance and just put it wide. And then I just think Evan Ferguson went on a tear. And I tell you what, that Evan Ferguson is something special. He's a player that works hard. He gets stuck. A bit like Nketiah without the goals. He actually does really get stuck in and does shit. Well, I mean, he don't do shit. He don't shit on the pitch, but I mean, and it's just a bad day at the office for Newcastle and a great day at the office for Brighton. You can't knock Brighton. I mean, they did what they had to do and they just beat them. Over to you, Jess, because I need a piss.
Okay, man.
I know he said a wank then. Fucking hell, what's up with me?
Go for it. You're already in the bathroom.
Brighton seem to have this thing against Newcastle. I mean, in recent years in the FA Cup, Newcastle, I think it was 2 years on the bounce, had to play Brighton away, and they got done. Brighton are one of these awkward teams. I mean, I'll be at Brighton Arsenal the next game. Only it's just down the road from me. Really, it's easy to get to. I have to go with Brighton fans, which is always a good laugh. They're good mates of mine. But Brighton, they're a decent side. I mean, they've lost a couple of key players, but Casido's gone. They lost Trossard in the January window, and that I could talk about, but not now. Newcastle, I just think I rate Newcastle. Yeah, I just think they had a bad day. It happens. It can happen to any team. Right. And I think it just went all tits up. And I'm not going to write Newcastle off anywhere at all. And I think they'll bounce back from that. Dow, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I think they'll bounce back too, Jez. But I just wonder if that inconsistency will come creeping in. Where I think last season they won, like 10 or 11 games straight or something like that, some crazy number, and defended really well. We'll see what happens. It's still early, but I rate Newcastle as well. And I think I agree with you too, Jez. It was just a bad day at the office. But I also think that Brighton has the potential to rip apart any defense. They're good at passing. The movement's good, but they are missing some top players. But that Evan Ferguson is going to be something for us to try and handle. With regards to Arsenal, Gabriel, Saliba, they're going to have some challenges with him coming up. But I rate Newcastle too. I think they're going to be a top 5, top 6. But I just think there's going to be maybe the inconsistency might just creep in a bit more than it did last season. And then I just think maybe there's some points to be dropped there. I don't really rate Dan Burn, and I know their defense is pretty good like it was last season, but I think it's going to be hard for them to keep that defensive record this year. They kind of came out of nowhere last season, right? It just went right up the table. But no, bad day at the office for sure.
You know what? One thing that Evan Ferguson does that I think every team wants their players to do, and that is basically shoot, man.
Yeah.
Just shoot. If you're outside the box
exactly.
and there's loads of defenders, just shoot.
Right. Because the chances of it deflecting somewhere is actually pretty good, right? I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
If you rocket that ball right just inside the 18-yard box, I mean, you who knows what kind of ping-ponging it around in there happens. Goalie deflects it. No, you're right, and I think that's something that's funny you mentioned that because that's something I wanted to talk about, like with our Arsenal. On our Arsenal YouTube is why we don't take distance shots, why we don't risk it. So that's a very good point. Evan Ferguson has no problem shooting the ball.
Good point.
Fuzz hot.
Yeah.
Fuzz hot. I mean, not fuzz. Fuzz
hot. Yeah, I think with Brighton, it's one of those grounds that some teams are just gonna like. It's just written on the wall, isn't it? That some teams are going to go there and they're just going to get smoked. I always, as a United fan, feel like, thanks, mate. I always feel like with United that one of the few grounds that we'll go away to and get absolutely smoked every single time is Brighton. Like for some reason, it's always Brighton, and I know they play this fantastic style of football, but it's just
you get the confidence by Arsenal as well.
I get smoked by 90% of the Premier League, it seems, but Christ almighty. Well, we'll smoke you after we give you a head start, but and after you come chanting into my chats as well. So let's go.
Mate, I'll never live that down. We're gonna score one more than you, and then they score one more than us. Great.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Brighton. It's a weird one because they look like every single game they're going to hold this level of the style of play, how good they are in games, how silly they can make opponents look. It's not just the case that another team comes up against Brighton, plays just badly. Brighton makes them look bad, but they're not actually playing that bad themselves. It's a really weird one with Brighton, but I think the frustrating thing for me watching Brighton,
bloody good side.
The frustrating thing for me with Brighton is that they'll occasionally have a game where it's like they just don't turn up, and you're just like,
if you have a bad day with Brighton, you're gonna regret it.
Christ almighty, Wolves found out the hard way last season. What was it, 6-1 or 6-0 or something?
Yeah, oh my God.
Got absolutely destroyed.
They got Connor.
I think just quickly with Newcastle. I believe that there is definitely going to be some form of a turnaround. I mean, it's not every day that you'll see a team play Manchester City, then Liverpool, then Brighton in a row, and they just pass all tests with flying colours. I mean, it's like you get kicked in the nuts playing City, you get kicked in the nuts playing against Liverpool, even though technically they should have kicked them in the nuts. I can't understand how they let that one go. And then you just get punched in the face by Mike Tyson Brighton whilst you're still trying to get up off the floor from the first 2 times. But
yeah, they've only got 3 points, don't they?
Good point.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing point, to be fair. And okay, we're on to Liverpool 3-0 against Aston Villa. This stream just drops off. There's nothing I can do about it because I only get so much time. Will it not? Oh, that's awesome. Awesome stuff. Well, I just want to say sorry for if it does. I'll keep saying sorry. Every 10 minutes, I'll keep saying sorry. Yeah.
Just says it's won't.
The fact I had to go for a piss, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Also, right, Liverpool 3-0 against Aston Villa. Liverpool pulled off a masterstroke yesterday. I don't know if you guys watched it, but they sort of dropped Matip into the right back spot and Trent Alexander-Arnold into the centre back, and he was just away from the players. So every time they passed back to Trent Alexander-Arnold, nobody was pressing him or anything. And you cannot give that guy a chance to make them passes, man. That is absolute nightmare for anybody. And that pass he made to Salah to get that goal, absolutely phenomenal. Brilliant. And I tell you what, if you're going to play Liverpool, make sure your manager does not give Trent Alexander-Arnold that kind of space.
No, absolutely.
Yes. Jazz, over to you, man.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, won't it, this week? What? Because apparently, this Saudi team's apparently going to put another bid in for Salah.
215 million, Jez.
Yeah,
215 million, I've heard. Yeah.
200. I mean, with what he's going to earn a year, obscene. It's obscene. And
be a little bit more than I earn.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd like to be a pound behind you.
A pound or two.
But yeah, I mean, Salah. I think since Mane left, was it Mane? Yeah.
Sadio Mane.
Yeah. That made a big difference, didn't it?
It hasn't been quite the player he was. I think they fed too well together. But fair play. I mean, Jurgen Klopp, great manager. I'd take him at Arsenal all day long. I think he's sorted a lot of this crap out that's going on. He doesn't play nonsense, inverted tactics. You know, he doesn't have 72 different patterns of play, game.
But he conquered his wife.
Yeah. So, Liverpool, you can never write Liverpool off. I know they went through the doldrums for many, many, many years. But, yeah, this manager...
Big up Jorginho.
He won a Premier League and a Champions League. Right, okay. Statement. What has Mikel Arteta won? An FA Cup which wasn't his team.
What have you done for me lately?
Who? Mikel Arteta? Nothing.
That was Eddie Murphy in his Raw concert, I think it was, wasn't it?
The Janet Jackson song.
But yeah, I mean, let's put it right. Aston Villa aren't a bad team.
No.
Right, they've got, I believe, a very good manager. I didn't want him to leave Arsenal. I thought he would have taken Arsenal to bigger and better things. And I believe if he'd had the backing, he would have done it. And fair play, Villa will be a problem this season. They were there or thereabouts at times last season. They've spent some money. Liverpool haven't done a lot really, but they'll be there. They'll be in the mix. They always are.
Well, the thing is, I think what you've got to take into account is anybody not putting Klopp into the top echelons is mad, because at the end of the day, that's Unai Emery, and he totally foxed him with that Trent Alexander-Arnold move. And Trent Alexander-Arnold spraying them passes around. You are in shit, mate. You are in shit. Now, over to you, man.
Liverpool are going to be tougher this year. They absolutely annihilated Aston Villa. I think Villa had a few chances, but nah. The Soboslai, great signing. I want to get Arsenal 2 or 3 years ago. Curtis Jones is just going to get better and stronger. Gakpo's going to get better. I mean, I agree with Jez. They're a different side without Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane was the engine that was just absolutely dominant for them. And they have
Nunes is getting there, though. Nunes is getting there.
Right. He's not, again, he was
kind of. He hit the bar and the post like 3 or 4 times.
He hit the post, I think, twice, 2 or 3 times, I think. So, I mean, they're going to be good, man, and they're going to be challenging for the title. I mean, I think they're going to look at last season and say, okay, enough of that. They got some deadwood out. They got in some new signings, and Klopp is not one to just sort of sit back. He's not just going to sit there and have his legacy tarnished, right, by bad performances and injuries. I know last season they had a horrible injury record. I think like 6 starters were out. But those starters are now back, and let's not write them off. Nope. And Villa's going to be decent, but I still think that they have some defensive weaknesses there that we can exploit, from the Arsenal side. But they're going to be tough, and I think they'll be pushing for a Europa League spot for sure.
100%. Right, okay, Fuzz Hot. Why do I keep calling you Fuzz Hot? Hot Fuzz, I mean. So much easier to say Hot Fuzz. So why do I keep saying Fuzz Hot?
To be fair, I do call myself Fuzz Hot on a couple of other platforms, so
See, I've worked that out. See,
yeah, it's just
I'm like Mystic Meg. I'm like Mystic Meg, mate. Ask me for the lottery numbers.
It's just fine. Like me predicting 2 of the goal scorers in the United Arsenal game as well, and how they would score them. But yeah, I think with Liverpool, definitely
that's
a very
commanding.
Know
your shit, though. That's not like being clever. That's just because you know your shit.
I think with this game with Liverpool, they definitely they commanded this result. They commanded this performance, and Aston Villa once or twice getting into Liverpool's box, sort of not really taking chances or making good of chances that they get, not really testing Alisson so much. I think with Liverpool, it was just like they didn't look troubled whatsoever. They were very, very comfortable, very in their zone. I know that it's Anfield. For some reason, that place is just a freaking hoodoo place. It does not matter what team you are, unless you are Real Madrid. You are going there and you are struggling. They could stick out their under 21s, and United could go there. We'll get slapped like 3-4-0 because they're just built different at Anfield. It's just a cursed place. But I think Liverpool, based off of last season, it's like the way they've started this season. It's like, do we count them out based off of last season, or do you look in your rearview mirror and see them coming up with their high visors on, like their high beams, and they're just like they're blinding you. They're just, oh my god! And by the time you get your vision back, they're already in front of you. It's like Liverpool are this team that I think are going to surprise a lot of people, and I'm going to quote it or use what I quoted, or he says clip it. But Big Steve from a City fan said, "Watch out for Liverpool. Don't worry about everyone else. Watch out for Liverpool. They'll finish above Arsenal this season, guaranteed. They'll be runners up to City. Click me up." And I was just like, "Well, that's a big statement."
Yeah, possible.
Well, look at what's going on. Look at how the season started for Liverpool. So I think they've got the makings to actually doing it.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Right, okay, so we're moving on to Crystal Palace and Wolverhampton. I watched this. I watched the highlights of this. Crystal Palace look something decent this season, to be honest. I mean, and to keep Elise and Eze, I mean, they ain't bad players because Man City wanted both of them, and Man City don't want shit players. No. So, to actually keep them two, I think is a massive thing for Crystal Palace. And to be honest, I thought they looked really good. 3-2, maybe their defence is a little bit iffy to actually, letting 2 goals. But, you still got to give them respect where it's due. Over to you, Jez.
Yeah, for neutral, it was a great game of football. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. All credit to Crystal Palace. They battled it and they battled it and they battled it and they walked away and they got the result. Wolves, fair play to them.
Well, they could have got one against you as well, to be fair.
Oh, absolutely. Totally agree. And yeah, I mean, Selhurst Park is another one of those old stand type, the old quirky grounds. I mean, Palace fans are they never stop bloody singing. They never shut up. They can be 4-0 down and they're still singing, which respect, and I respect that. Now, Crystal Palace, I think they'll be mid-table. I don't think they're going to be a challenge to the league at all. They might have a cup run. Fair play to them. Wolves, I think they've got big problems, personally. I don't think it's a relegation, but I don't think they're going to do very much at all. I think they could be a sort of like 15th place finisher. But, yeah, it was a great game to watch as a neutral. Seriously was. And fair play to both teams. It was a great game.
Big up, Tony. Legend yourself, mate. Legend yourself. And over to you, Dom. I
watched the highlights of that game. Crystal Palace, I think, are going to be decent. I don't really rate Wolves. I don't know why we haven't really, as for Arsenal, we haven't made a play for Pedro Neto and get him out of that shit show. What's to say? Crystal Palace is good. They deserve the win.
To lose a player like Zaha and then be doing what they're doing is pretty.
I'm surprised he didn't stay in the Premier League. I was really surprised he went to Galatasaray, was it?
Yeah,
that was a weird move to me. I think he could have gone somewhere else, but it is what it is. He's making the money, and all the more power to him because it's less for Arsenal to have to handle, right?
100%.
They do have very good mids in Olise and Eze, a decent center back in Joaquin Anderson. They're a decent side, but
I think Zaha should have been an Arsenal player at some point. Personally, I do think he should have been an Arsenal player at some point.
Who are we talking about?
Zaha.
Oh yeah.
I do think he should have been an Arsenal player at some point.
He was.
I think he's got a bit of an attitude. So.
Yeah, he was number one on Emery's list, but I don't think Arteta really rated him that much.
He's too much of a talker for Arteta. Arteta is too much of a pussy to handle as Zaha.
That's true.
He'd prefer to have a dog that he can feed and fucking get to lick his bollocks. Over to you, Watfuzz.
Yeah, so, just to second what Jez said about the game being a banger to watch as a neutral. I mean, any sort of 3-2 game is going to get people a bit excited, or in retrospect
too. Someone's hearing aid going on.
Well, that's a loud one. But, I think I could agree with Wolves potentially being in trouble. I mean, they didn't have a great summer transfer window, and writing them from the start is just like, they're going to run into some problems. And I mean, from playing against United, I thought, these guys, if they play this sort of football, they should be all right. Even if they've not got, they've got big holes in it, they should be all right. But I'll tell you what, since that game, since United, I mean, we make every team look 10 times better than they actually are. Unless it's Nottingham Forest, of course. But it's like every other game, Wolves
look made you look better than you are.
Yeah, true. But Crystal Palace, I mean, credit to Roy Hodgson. Like, I think the last time he was there, they looked just like this boring mid-table team. And I was like, these guys aren't anything special. What's happened when Roy Hodgson's come back for yet another stint? He's just like, okay, guys, this time I'm going to take the handbrake off. And take the barking brake off. Now you're going to play a lot more attacking. It's like the Leeds game last season. Yeah, it's like the Leeds result last season. But it's just like it was 1-1 at one point. I was like, okay, well, this is going to be a tough game. This is going to be a challenging game. I was sat at Sunday lunch dinner. I was watching, Palace has scored second. Scored their third. Oh, they scored their fourth. Oh, now they scored their fifth. I'm like, this is Crystal Palace. This ain't Man City. What's going on? What juice has Roy Hodgson got these guys on?
Yeah,
it's got him drilled, Fred. I mean, he's a top. I know he's an older manager, but I think he was a manager at Inter Milan back in the day. I mean, he's a football guy, man.
At the end of the day, I don't think he's bothered. He's basically just said, like, just go out there and play teams. And I've always rated Crystal Palace anyway. I've always sort of had talent, and they always buying young and, buying young talent as well. And it's good to see him actually starting to do something. Right, okay, on to the most boring team on the planet.
On to the most...
Who?
Alan Gilzean played for Palace. Probably one of their...
I do remember that name.
Iconic player.
Right, on to this, on the next game, the most boring team in the Premier League.
Which one?
Manchester United. On to this, but first of all, I want to cover the fact that Arteta is an absolute twat. And the things he said in that conference about, like, that guy asked him a great question. That's the first time I've actually heard a journalist ask a great question. Why are you tinkering around? When it worked last season and all that kind of stuff. And that twat goes on about how he gets to the game and stuff like that. If I was in that room, I probably would have jumped up and punched him in the teeth for just being a dickhead. But because, I mean, that was just totally avoiding all the questions. And then the things he said about Havertz afterwards, about wanting to conquer him, I'm not quite sure about what he's actually doing there, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, Arsenal, not the best game, to be fair. It was good. It looked like it could go either way at one point. I think the goal that you got to actually bring it back was phenomenal. If you can keep doing that, that was amazing. Nobody was on Odegaard. Nobody was anywhere near him. He could have been in a different postcode. Nobody knew where the guy was. And it was a brilliant goal. It was a brilliant finish. And then Jesus, another great finish. But I think everybody knew as soon as Maguire and Evans came on, it was pretty much game over. Over to you, Jez.
Well, yeah, I mean, let me just start with this. It's interesting that when you start a game with 10 men, right, you struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because I was an advocate of saying, I did say it many, many times, there's a player in that Havertz. Well, I have to retract that because I think there is a player, but he's not in the Premier League.
You should get clipped on that, to be honest.
Yeah, clip me, that's fine. He was great in the Bundesliga at Bayer Leverkusen, and I can see why Chelsea bought him. He's not made it at Chelsea, and I don't think he's going to make it at Arsenal. I don't think he's the levels, and we have seen it in the past at many, many clubs where players have come in, they've been great in their home league, and yet they've struggled because maybe the physicality, the speed of the Premier League. It's a different level. And once he went off and we brought on the subs, we were a totally different team.
100%.
We were boring. Man United were boring in that first half. And, yeah, Odegaard. One thing I'll say about Odegaard, he only ever scores quality goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, does.
He did last year. He's done it again. And, I mean, Odegaard, when he came to us on loan, I was like, really, I'm not sure about this guy. But he's blossoming. He's only young, right? And he's going to get better and better and better. And I can see why, and I'll give Arteta faith and credit, I can see why he's stuck with him. Because I like what I'm seeing out of him now, Odegaard, and class. Declan Rice, absolute quality player. And all right, yeah, it was a deflection. So back in the day, you would have called that an own goal. Fair play. Can we agree on that? But you could see that man's passion. I mean, when he 100%. Went, I didn't think we'd ever see him again. And I didn't think back with his shirt on, that's for sure. The fans went mental and fair play. We spent £105 million. And he's been, the last two games, incredible. And I gave him my personal man of the match. Man United, oh dear. When you brought on Maguire and Shaw, I thought, yeah, thanks for
Evans. Mate.
I thought, thank you very much, because they are absolutely bloody shocking. How you didn't let Hot Fuzz? How did you not let Harry Maguire go to West Ham? They want to buy him.
We don't want to pay off his severance pay. Save the extra buck, guys. I mean, we're willing to cost us an entire season.
I'll just say something to save you, Jazz, from that there's a player in there. I'm thinking when you say that, it's like a Russian doll, and he's got 45 skins. So, like, another 40-odd games, and I think that player might be there somewhere.
You're talking about Havertz?
Yeah, Havertz, not Rice. Rice is quality.
No, Havertz, I just think he's lacking so much
brain.
Well, I think confidence. I think his confidence is absolutely shot. And it would take, I believe, a top-level manager, of which I don't class Arteta, I'm sorry to say, to get that out of him. I tell you what. I tell you
do you
what.
think he looks bothered though, Jez? I'm not being funny, but do you think he looks bothered? Because he don't even look bothered to me.
No, well,
The only time he looks bothered is when he's pushing somebody.
Well, look, let's get it right. I think he's got the Ozil gene, right? He's come to Arsenal. He's on 300 bags a week. Yeah, I'm happy. You know, it's all going well, and for him, you know, financially, I mean, I don't think he gives a shit. Ozil in the end, Ozil's first season at Arsenal, he was excellent, and then he just gave up.
But he's doing that already.
That's what my point I'm making. I don't think he will make it.
No,
honestly, I don't see what Arteta, Edu, Vin I saw in him. Now, I just want to, before I shut up, this thing with Arteta, right? He would make a brilliant politician. You ask him a question and he will answer with something else. I mean, that absolute bloody nonsense. He was going on about how, in the morning I have to defrost my windscreen, and then I have to do, then I have to go maybe down the Finchley Road or the A21, or maybe sometimes. Who gives a fuck?
That is ridiculous.
Who gives a fuck what you do, man? Answer the man's question. And that
exactly.
He said, well, I couldn't at first conquer my wife. Well, why did you marry her? Why did you marry her then? You know, I mean, I interpret that, right, in the fact that she didn't want to sleep with him. I've married you, but I don't actually want to sleep with you, but I've married you because you've got loads of money as a professional footballer. Really?
He's still trying to conquer the dog.
Anyway,
he didn't have his Lego hair attached to his head. That's why he had to go get his Lego head and go. Now will you sleep with me?
Just going to say from Lenny Moon, because I started this, Arteta single-handedly made Arsenal worse than last season. Spot on, absolutely spot on.
I did a stream on it last week, which has had over 2,600 views, and the comments were right. Totally agree with. There's only one guy who said, "How can we have made the squad weaker?" And I said, "Well, we've let Tierney go. We've sold Rob Holding, which we had to, right? We've let two other players go out on loan, right? We brought in a goalkeeper on loan, and we brought in a useless player in Kai Havertz. So how are we not weaker? We've got seven defenders. We've just lost our best midfielder out for maybe 2 months. Right? We've lost our very, very, very good-looking young left back in Jurian Timber, right? Because of the absolute idiocracy of letting him go back on the pitch.
That was crazy. That was.
And so how we are weaker.
30 million adverts, I would have understood, but not 65. That's mental, mate. And I bet there's add-ons on that as well.
Oh, no doubt.
He's never gonna meet. Anyway, over to you, Dal.
I'm just glad we beat United. I don't rate Kai Havertz either. I don't know what Smith Rowe and Trossard have to do to get in the game, get in the squad. It makes no sense. It made no sense when we bought him. We didn't need him.
Why Nelson and not Trossard?
There you go. I mean, I don't know why we bought him. We weren't looking for a left mid, and I don't understand why we got Raya either. You know, we weren't looking for a goalie because to me, Matt Turner was doing just fine. I don't know. Some of these decisions were just strange down the stretch of the window. You know, we haven't signed an outfield player since July 15th, so that got under my skin quite a bit.
Yeah.
But with regards to Sunday's game, you know, I was pleased with the performance. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. And you know, Declan fucking Rice, man. I was
3 points,
up and down when he scored. I was really, really happy.
Who leaves Declan Rice on the post unopposed like that? Crazy.
He was the
Harry
energy
Maguire
of
does.
that. Him and Odegaard,
Yeah.
the energy of that whole game.
Yeah.
I mean, Rice was chasing United players down and nicking the ball off.
Oh, he was brilliant.
I mean,
he was
just all over them. So I see why we spent the money. I still think it's a lot for a player, right? I mean, to me, he's 85, 90, maybe 80, 85 million. But, we got the win against a United team that is absolutely in shambles right now. I've said on other streams, I can't think of, maybe except for Rashford, maybe Varane or Casermo, but the rest of those players, I don't even see Alex Ferguson giving them a look at all. Like, those players would not be in a Ferguson team.
Nah, not in a
They
million
just
years.
wouldn't be.
A lot of them are just marquee signings. Like
they're just names on right. They're just names on paper. The performances don't.
Anthony
me,
just
don't equal. The Manchester United. Dominance of the last 20, 25 years.
No.
I just think that the levels have dropped drastically since Ferguson's left. They couldn't. Moyes couldn't get a tune out of him. Van Gaal was hated. Mourinho was hated. Oh, well, you got a Solskjaer, wasn't basically, I think, a legend, and for some fans because of his heroics against Munich in '99. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer used to score goals every time he was on the pitch. But he's he's
fantastic. You don't make a good manager just because you
go from Molde to United makes no sense. And then I mean, that's like coaching kids to fucking professional.
One mistake after another, really. One mistake after another.
Yeah, I just think that the drama they had with Ed Woodward fucked the club up for a while. I know Fuzz can go on and on about this much more in depth than I can, but they're a shadow of who they
boiling up.
I was relishing that game Sunday. I mean, I was disappointed that it was so close because I thought we could bury them, but I don't think they're going to be hard to push top 4 if they keep up.
To be honest, I mean, one thing I like about Rice is he's there already.
Yeah.
One thing I really like about Rice is he is there. He is an Arsenal fucking player now. He's a gunner.
Right.
And you can see it 100%. Running into the crowd and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he loves the club. He's happy to be there. And like Jess said too, that made me so excited to watch him, like you said as well here, getting embraced by the fans, because you could tell that he was loving every second of that. And
that to me makes him worth 105 million in already.
And that's worth the extra 20 million to me, right? That's worth the he's an 85 million 100%. Player, but he's going to bleed the red and white. I can just feel it. You can just see it already, that he's going to be named up there, hopefully with the likes of Tony Adams and Liam Brady and those types of players. I really hope that for him. I really, really do. At first I questioned the money, but I know it's 85% players, 20%, 20 million heart. Let's fucking get it, man. Let's get it. But go back to United. 100%. I think they're just a shambles. Whatever you think, Buzz.
Right, over to what Fuzz, because he's holding back the tears. Holding back the tears.
Well, unfortunately, it's going to have to be quite short and sweet, because I've got to jump off real soon.
That's what United fans normally do when they get asked about their own team and they've lost.
But I've been called to dinner as well, so they're probably all sat down there waiting for me, so I'm going to have to make this quick. But I am doing a show later on tonight, 9 p.m, so I will probably cover a lot of this in more depth. I've already done a show last night as well about it, but I'll do more later on tonight. But short and sweet, I mean, even if it's a case that you try and go and do defensive masterclass or anything like that, I mean, the fact of the matter is that we only looked like scoring twice that game in 113 minutes. One of those shots was a goal. The other one was ruled out for offside. I don't want to hear no BS about, VAR's not drawing the lines properly.
It was offside.
From the angle without lines, you can see he is offside. It was Gabriel or Saliba, one of those two, was doing them funny shapes, you know, like the show where you get those holes in the wall.
He backed up. It was quite a masterclass, actually.
Yeah, he was jumping.
It was like an inverted bozo gene. He did it the opposite way.
The thing is, too, Francis, I think without VAR, that goal stands. Without VAR, I think that goal stands.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, very close. 100%. It is very, very close. And I think it is really, really unfortunate for Garnacha because he's literally got the timing off by like literally less than half a second.
Yeah.
Because he's already traveling at that point. It's just the release of the pass is just off.
It was a beautiful move. It was a beautiful move. If he hadn't gone too soon, credit to
also Rasmus Højlund in that, because he was doing some one-touch football that laid it off for then the final pass. And I thought he came on. Yeah, I think he looked all right. You know, the best of a bad punch by all means. Frustratingly, Christian Eriksen, amazing for Rashford's goal, but then was equally at fault for then Ødegaard's goal, because he was the guy that then got sucked into where Casemiro was, and Ødegaard peeled off into his blind spot. Eriksen just ran away. Like, there's no need to do that. And that's where Sofyan Amrabat doesn't do that. Yeah. He's more defensively attuned. So Sofyan Amrabat goes, well, actually, you know, Casemiro's fine there, so I'm going to just sort of hold this off here and actually check out what's going on. I had a roundabout sort of heads-up play as well. It's like with Harry Maguire for Rice's goal. And whoever it was behind him, I think it was Wan-Bissaka. Literally, Johnny Evans is tussling with an Arsenal player. The ball comes deflected off of him, but the whole duration of an entire player-to-player battle and a shot being controlled, or the first touch from the cross gets controlled, comes down, and then places it, deflection off of Johnny Evans. In that whole time, Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka are just sat there. They don't move. And they know that the post is open. They know the near post is open. They know Declan Rice is sat there. He's got the ball.
Well, and Wan-Bissaka played well up to that point, to be fair.
It's like, I could go out and press this guy. I could. But you know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to sit here rooted to my position rather than actually doing anything at all. I mean, Wan-Bissaka's behind you, Harry Maguire. Why not you step across, and then Wan-Bissaka's the extra body right next to you, so you're covering all angles here. If it's a low shot, then you're just shot solely by chance at that point. But the fact is, you don't close it down. You don't move. You just let it happen. And that's so symbolic of Harry Maguire. I mean, the fact of the matter is that, to sum it up, we finished that game in 2023, Arsenal away, with Leicester City's centre-back partnership from the fucking 2016-17 season. I think it was. What the fuck are you on about?
I think everybody knew what was going to happen as soon as that happened.
That is pathetic. That is pathetic. Even with any other club, I wouldn't expect to see that sort of a centre-back partnership. That is pathetic. Only Manchester United. And the fact is that we rejected signing Kim Min-jae, Todibo, Benjamin Pavard in favour of signing Johnny Evans to a 1-year deal because he was training with us during pre-season and he did a good job. Fuck off with that.
That is ridiculous.
You piece of shit.
That is ridiculous.
That your away kit, man, that looks fucking
my days, that is terrible. I thought it was Newcastle when I was watching it.
Yeah. The guy beside that is a Newcastle fan, that's for sure.
Mate, the worst thing about it is it's not even black and white, it's literally dark moss green with white block stripes and then a little red pinstripe fine detail. Mate, the whole club at this point is smoking crack. If you go under the pitch, the pitch is raised at Old Trafford, right? There's probably a coke farm under there. They're probably cooking shit up. Walter White settings underneath that raised Old Trafford pitch.
We need to be cooking something up under the pitch because you ain't cooking shit up on there.
Like I said before, Alex Ferguson would not pick any of those players. There was no way. No
Casemiro would.
Maybe Rashford, maybe.
Casemiro, definitely.
Casemiro, Raf.
Do you know?
I'm sorry, but you just don't have the squad. You just don't have the squad, man.
And it's not even just the fact that we're getting slapped up on the pitch. We're getting slapped up off it too. Like we've got Sancho's decided, you know what, fuck this manager. You've got Anthony that's now got a legal case that's starting up on him now.
Yeah.
We've got, I mean, Christ almighty, what more can go wrong? What more can go wrong? You have to go through the catalogue. You know.
Can I just say though? I want to make this point, right? You know, Sancho. Yeah, I don't mind what he's done. I'm gonna say this right now. Yeah, I don't mind what he's done. But what he should have done was grown bollocks and gone and said that to Ten Hag instead of saying it on social media and trying to get loads of like people on his side and causing division. I don't mind what he's done, but I think the way he did it was shit.
Well, what you see with that, right, is 2 words: player power.
Yeah.
We are not Manchester United Football Club that has players working for it or serving the club. We've got Manchester
But players
United
say they don't like social
players.
media. Yeah, it works when it works for them.
Like, it's honestly really, really stupid. And it's just like, mate, if the manager says something you don't like, you can be a fucking man about it and go and confront him. There's a manager's office. Like, a manager will probably respect you more as a character if you say, well, I'm going to handle this professionally and we're going to go and discuss this. I'm going to go talk about it.
Mind you, he never got to confront Brian Clough because he had somebody in front of his office. And if you didn't have a good enough reason, then you weren't going in the office and talking to him.
Wow, really?
That was back in the day. He used to have somebody in front of his office. If you didn't get the right sayings, then you weren't going in.
Right on Sancho. I mean, he's a grown man. He's a professional footballer. If you got a problem, don't put it on fucking social media. That's the last thing you should be doing. I mean, Ronaldo did it. Look what happened to him. You know?
Yeah. Guys, I've got to jump off now.
It's just pathetic, to be honest.
I'm getting a bit shouted at now, so I'm going to before I get chucked through.
Tell him it was my fault. Tell him it was the Yeti's fault. You went in the cave and you couldn't get out.
But yeah, I'll be doing another show later on tonight. So yeah, big ups to everyone.
Big up, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks a lot for being on here, man.
Appreciate it.
Take care, man.
We'll see you later.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Right, okay, so Hot Fuzzers out there. The one question I want to ask, because I started earlier for Mama Flossie, it will be interesting to see what happens to City when Pep leaves. Who do you think would actually take over when Pep leaves?
Arteta.
That's the show. Gosh, I don't know.
I hope so.
I think Klopp. I think
Xavi.
If you're still up for it.
Barcelona.
I think Klopp or maybe Simeone if they're still up for it.
I want Simeone at Arsenal.
I gotta get back to work, guys.
No worries, man. Cheers for dropping in. Make sure drop your channel though before you go.
Oh yeah, check me out, Oregon Good on YouTube, on IG, Infamous Dow, every Friday, 9 o'clock, American Idiots Show. I think TJ's going to be out for this one, it sounds like. So maybe me and Connor running things. Jazz, I might have to hit you up. You too, Yeti.
Yeah, man.
Some spots. I don't know what guests we have this week, so I'll have to look at our calendar. But yeah, Friday, American Idiots. Thanks again for your support today, guys. It was fun.
No problem, mate. Anytime.
I will see you guys soon.
Take care, Joe.
Take it easy, man.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Sure, we'll see you on a video later, stoned out your head, playing some metal music or something. But yeah, mate, great show. Jez, show yourself out. Shout yourself out at me.
Yeah, Arsenal history and more. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, I've got my weekly chat with Kenny Ken. And I've got a new
Always
guest.
Awesome show that.
I've got a new guy coming on who has a YouTube channel, and he does actually do this gaming stuff.
Nice.
He comes in the chat, and he's asked if he could jump on, so he's going to come on tomorrow night.
Right.
And then later in this week, I'll be doing some other stuff. And then next week, Wednesday, I'm on with Lee Gunner and Kenny Ken on the Wednesday night, 6 p.m. So more stuff
tomorrow. You on with Lee tomorrow?
No, Lee can't make it tomorrow.
Okay, Nick. Okay.
Next week.
I'll jump on tomorrow if you want. I mean,
yeah, come on, man. Come on, yeah. I'll send you the link. Yeah, jump on.
Yeah, 100%.
Always good to get different people on. And so tomorrow it's just going to be Arsenal chat, other chat, football chat, and I like getting different people on. It's always good fun. Different opinions, views. Carl says we need a jam session jazz stream with them beautiful guitars. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll do it, but it won't be good.
No,
be good.
Yes, that's what's happening, and obviously we got the boring international break. I hate that. I don't watch it. I just find it so boring. And
I do, but I'm glad it's happened because my stream times ran out. Oh, I tell you what, I forgot to ask this to everybody else actually. I'm working on sorting it out on Streamlabs because they've sorted something out called CollabCam, which is free, where I can bring people onto that and give them their own stream links. So if you can help me out with that, Jez, I'd appreciate it to make sure that I can actually do it. And then I'll start streaming on there instead of Streamlabs. Instead of StreamYard, I mean.
Yeah. No worries, man. Yeah, as I said to you, you said you only had an hour left. They never kick you out, StreamYard. And if you've got the
I was wondered. I did wonder whether it would. I didn't know whether it would or not.
But if you want to do, if your monthly allowance is up already, all you've got to do in your setup, bottom left, you can go in there and do automatic delete. It doesn't remove the videos from your content, right? But it gives you more hours.
Oh, right. I ain't got anything saved. I got rid of it today. I've not got nothing saved. And it didn't actually go up when I did it.
Well, I don't save anything. All I do is they go into your content, right? And then you can do an automatic delete. So if you wanted to do a stream like tomorrow without upping your package, I guess you're on are you on the free one?
Well, I mean, my package needs upping because it's not that big, to be fair.
Right. So, well, if you go to what they call the professional one.
I meant the package in my pants, but, yeah, fair enough.
Then you get unlimited apps, but you've got to pay for that. But if you've got the basic package, which is free, you can go auto delete.
Right.
But that will allow you to continue streaming throughout the month. So every time you do it, the most modern ones you've got, you won't lose them. They're in your content, but
I'll just use Streamlabs, mate. If Streamlabs is free, then why would I not use that? I mean, if I can do it with that, games I do my gaming. So, Well,
yeah, I mean, do that because you can just continually go in. And obviously, once you get yourself monetized, which will happen, then that revenue you can use to pay for the professional package. It's not a lot of money a month. Not a lot of money.
It's not. It's just at this point in time in the month, it is like a lot of money for me because I don't actually get that much money. So, it's a bit difficult at this point. I just want to cover this. Jiminho, Evan Ferguson has pulled out of the Ireland squad. Just fold the fucking FII at this point. What do you mean by that? Do you mean he's going to be playing for England instead? Or is he pulled out because he's injured or something? Or is he not interested?
I don't know. Maybe he's injured. I don't know.
I mean, surely, that guy looks amazing. I mean, he should be going with Ireland, not England.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Anyway, I've got to bounce, man. Getting called.
No worries, buddy. I'm gonna end the broadcast here anyway. It's been awesome. It's been legendary, as it always is. It's always good to do the review and stuff like that and hear everyone's point of view. I know some of it was a bit quicker than what I wanted, but it just is what it is. I didn't know if they'd kick me off, so I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry for having a pee, and I'm sorry for going downstairs and having drink and all that kind of stuff. See, the thing is, when I get me cooler bag, I'm like a hunter-gatherer. I hunt the alcohol, I gather it, and then I have it here and I drink it. So I'm like a real man when I've got that sorted out. But anyway, thanks everybody. Loved it, man. Thank you so much, everybody who's tuned in and everyone who's going to view afterwards. It's awesome, man. Thank you a lot as well, Jez. Awesome.
Pleasure, man.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy.
Take care.